Hey guys, wow, what a day. What a freaking day. Woke up this morning and it's not even the 18th in the US, and my predictions for the big change with BCC or BCH, because a couple of you have corrected me that some exchanges call it BCH and other ones call it BCC, but it's short for Bitcoin Cash. Some of the movements that I've been predicting in the last week or so have come to fruition as of this morning. I woke up quite early, actually, about 8 o'clock. Normally I wake up at about 9:30, and my phone was just vibrating like crazy, and I sleep with it like turned on to silent, and it's just going zzz, 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 zzz. And I like start looking. I've got about 15 unread messages in my Facebook Messenger, and I've got text messages, and I've got a missed call, and I've got another call coming in, and I'm like, what's going on? And I checked my Blockfolio account, and I'm holding 105 Bitcoin Cash. I've basically put all my profits out of all my alts into BCC and a bit of extra money as well. And I don't hold any Bitcoin at all. It's all in BCC at the moment. And I look, and the coin price has doubled overnight. So I'm currently sitting for the day from a 30,000 investment. I'm sitting, it's gone down a little bit, about $100. It hit a high of about 820 on the Australian exchanges, and it's down to about 720 now. But I basically turned 30k, 35k into about 75k overnight, and it's just, it's amazing. It's amazing. And I've had people message me and they're like, how did you predict this? Like, do you have a crystal ball? Like, calling me a messiah or a prophet. And I'm like, wow, way to like push my ego's buttons and make me feel pretty freaking special. But I'm not any of that, and that's where like this space is really fascinating. Being someone who's not a trader, who is not really skilled at reading charts and all that sort of stuff, which I've talked about in other videos, I'm making my judgments based on my own research and group psychology or mass psychology, and I'm looking at the way that the two different groups, and I'm going to be sharing this in the webinar in detail with references for every bit of evidence that I've found to support this belief. And I believe this is only the start. The doubling overnight is only just the beginning. And I'm not suggesting you should go and bet the house on it or anything like that. Like, make sure whenever you invest in cryptocurrency that you're only investing what you can afford to lose. And I'm not giving you any direct advice or anything like that. I'm telling you what's working for me, and if you want to go and follow that advice or use it, you can do so. So I'm going to be sharing on this webinar, which is going to be tomorrow at 11 AM Australian Eastern Standard Time, or Sydney time, which is also 7 PM West Coast time, or PST, San Diego, LA, or the final, and then the time on the East Coast of New York is 9 PM Eastern Standard Time. So I'm going to be sharing with you everything I have found, both from my own independent research and from talking to friends that are talking to people that know what the fuck they're talking about in this space. A lot of the core development team from Bitcoin, as well as Bitcoin Unlimited development team, and why they're placing big bets. One of my friends, and I really appreciate every bit of advice you've given me and your insights. He's a very, very humble guy, very, very intelligent. He's a programmer, and he's created some incredible apps over the last 10 or 15 years. But he got on the Bitcoin train very, very early and bought a very large amount. I won't share too much about his position because it's not really my place to. But he bought a large amount of Bitcoin at $10 a coin. And over the last week or so, he's one of a couple of friends that have gone and moved about $250,000 out of Bitcoin into Bitcoin Cash. And I remember this morning when I woke up and I got a message from him, he was like, I've never woken up overnight and made $100,000. And it's obviously gone up further than that because the price is still, climbing up pretty rapidly. So I'm guessing he's over the moon, and he's probably celebrating. And I guess that's a really good point. I've got a lot of excitement and happiness and gratitude for this, but at the same time, I'm like trying to keep my emotions down, because the most important thing to do that I'm learning from books that I've read and from trading and from other traders that I've spoken to is in a time when you're going up, you have to remain even more resilient and calm, and especially when the opposite happens, when it goes down, you definitely can't have negative emotions. You need to be more aggressive in either your sell positions or in your hold positions. So it's a real, to wake up till I double my money is a real yeah, it's a challenge for me to try to manage my emotions. I've never woken up before and overnight like realized like $35,000 in profit. It's it's pretty fucking amazing. So this webinar, I'm going to be sharing everything that has led me to this point and caused me to be so bullish on my position in Bitcoin Cash. If this is something you want to get involved in, I'm also going to be teaching the basics. So the first half of the webinar is going to be kind of basics, which different exchanges to use, how to buy Bitcoin, that sort of stuff, what an ICO is, how all these things work, some of my strategies that I use for trading and for spreading my risk. And then the second half of the webinar, I'm going to be talking solely about Bitcoin Cash, why I'm so bullish on it, and every bit of evidence that I've found in the last week or so of research and from talking to friends of mine that are way smarter than I am, and I'm going to be presenting that to you so that you can make your own decision if you want to invest in it. Now, a lot of you have messaged me today. Some of you who do currently own Bitcoin Cash have said, hey, should I go and like buy some? Is it too high? This and that. It's definitely going to dip, like it's been hovering a little bit today. But the two big dates, the 18th, so there's three big dates, the 18th US time, which is, you know, a few hours away because it's the end of the day here in Australia, the 20th of August, which is another very, very important and crucial date, and I'll be sharing why that is on the webinar. And then finally the 25th of August is the kind of final date. And if my predictions from where I stand and what I understand are even remotely close to what I think is going to happen, where we're at right now is only the beginning. I've bought another 10 coins today. I spent $6,500 for 10 coins when I spent like 4,000 a few days ago, because I can see what it's doing. I can see how fast it's going to move in the next few days, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say that right now it has the potential to like 10x where it's at. It has the potential. Will it do it? I don't know. Do I have a crystal ball? I don't know. Should you throw as much money as you possibly can into this and bet the house? Definitely not. You need to go and do your own research or watch my webinar. I'm only charging $500 US for it, and I think we've got 2 or 3 spots left for that one. But the most important thing is here, and this is where, like, to summarize the whole video, this is where people think that I've got some crystal ball, or I'm a messiah or something like that, when it's not. Like, as much as that's nice to hear, my ego loves hearing that, all this is me doing my research, doing it thoroughly, and using logic and group psychology to make predictions and then bet on those predictions. So I know I've mentioned it like 3 times. If you haven't done the webinar, simply ask me how to become a part of it. I'll actually put the buy link down below. There's not going to be much of like a sales page. I'm literally putting a link to a checkout page for you to pay. If you're interested in this and you want to be a part of it, I strongly recommend jumping on it. Now, if you've already been doing crypto trading, you're like, well, if you're going to do basics and all of that sort of stuff, it's probably a waste of my money. That is so far from the truth. The $500 US, which is about $620 or $650 Australian, that money that you'll be spending to get on this webinar will return itself 10, 20, maybe even 50 times if you see what I see and do your own research and then put some money into this coin. So I'd strongly recommend it. Like, I've been right up to this point There's possibility for anything to happen. It could completely flip the other way, but my evidence that I'll be presenting kind of says otherwise to me. Now, you're probably wondering, like, why am I charging money for this when I've gone and done so many videos for free? The answer is very, very simple. I want to buy more BCC. And I've been able to predict based on my research up until this point. So I'm leveraging my knowledge from you and offering my time that I've literally spent 7 days in researching this. I'm offering my time for a fraction of the price of what you'll be making for this so that I can acquire more coins. I don't know if that sells you hard enough on how aggressive and how much belief I have in this, but I guess there's no really other option. That's completely me being transparent. Like, that's why I've set it at 10 people. I want to spend another $10,000 on this coin, and then I'm cooled off. So I had the potential to sell one of my cars at a 50% loss. I've got $15,000 on that car, and I decided, well, I could sell it to one person who kind of lowballed me for 10. And I'm like, nah, I can't let that go. Like, that's a really good car. I'll fix it up a little bit and sell it for 15, maybe even 20. And I thought, how else could I do this? So I got creative, and I'm like, people are getting massive value out of what I'm teaching. I can't tell people what to do per se, but what I can do is I can show my research. And if I show my research, it's probably going to take me, I haven't even made the webinar yet, and it's in like, I don't know, 20 hours, 19 hours. I haven't even made the webinar yet, but it's probably going to take me 5 or 6 hours to put together all the information. So this small, very, very small price to pay that I'm asking for you to join me on this webinar is very, very small compared to the kind of money that you could potentially make if you see this information, you act upon it, and you move forward. So that's it for me. A very exciting update for today, and thank you so much for all the likes, comments, shares, and subscribes. My channel's actually gone up from 400 subscribers to about 450 in like less than a week, and I think I've got about 7,000 or 8,000 views across all my videos, all the crypto videos in the last week as well, which is phenomenal. So you guys are doing awesome sharing and sharing the message, and yeah, thank you for all the people that reached out. Personally, there's a number of people that have been watching and following my advice, and I've got one person that made like 4 or 5 grand today, one person that made 1,500 bucks, another one that made, one of my clients actually I told to get involved in this, and I think they doubled their money. I think they made about 20 or 25,000 from the $10,000 investment. And yeah, it's exciting times, very, very exciting times. So I'm going to end the video there. I'm really looking forward to presenting on this webinar and seeing you guys and getting all your questions answered and that sort of thing. So I'll see you guys soon. Thanks again, and yeah, keep making money with crypto.